Genesis 6 was the first super major for Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it was a hell of a tournament. In this wrap up, I want to do it a little bit backwards. I want to talk about my experience at the event and then go into my sets and my matches and things like that, because I do feel like I want to talk about the experience of an event for people that haven't been there, and also some gripes I had with how day 3 was, so let's get into it. There were so many people at this event. There were a crazy amount of new players, new fans, new competitors, just everything about this event. The scale of it was so large. It was the third biggest single event of any Smash Bros. Given 2 EVOs. I think Smash 4 was a little bit bigger at like 2,800 or 2,600 and like 2,200. This was the third biggest Smash event ever, specifically just for Smash Ultimate, not even counting Melee or Rivals or Splatoon or any of the other games that were there. So first off, that was crazy. I met so many people. I gave out so many wristbands. Shoutouts to the people that watched my last video before Genesis, so you guys were able to get those, and it was just actually insane. There were so many people, so many pictures, signatures. It was amazing to meet all of you, all of the new fans, all the people that I haven't seen because maybe you're not able to travel as much, so it was fantastic. I saw a bunch of old friends, a bunch of old faces, you know, especially considering that everyone is back. You know, I've saw a lot of Brawl players that are now playing the game again because their character is back. I saw Havoc, the Snake main, you know, and I haven't seen him in like 8 years or something, so a lot of things like that were really cool about it. You know, the event was run really well in my opinion. There were very few things that I was like, oh, that's bad or that's wrong. You know, maybe like, oh, prioritizing stream, but all of that kind of makes sense, especially considering the first event. There was an amazing VIP room set up, which was really nice to be able to go decompress or to get some, you know, glasses wipes or little snacks or water, things like that, because I know the convention center was being really hard, or I guess whatever it was called, was being really hard on outside food and outside water, and it was really annoying to be able to get refreshments, which was one kind of problem with Friday and Saturday, but being a VIP, I didn't have that issue because I could always go to the VIP room, get snacks, get water. It was totally fine. I think the schedule in general was also very good. Some people kind of only had a one-day event if your round 1 pool was on Saturday, but for me, you know, my round 1 pool was on Friday, as well as all of doubles was on Friday, so it was kind of nice to be able to separate things like that and then focus really hard on my day 2, which obviously I did fairly well, and then going into day 3. So now I want to talk about my issues with day 3. Day 3, the backstage was supposed to be reserved for the top 8 players, the top 8 coaches, and then the top 8 plus ones, as well as staff that I guess were allowed back there, such as commentators, MCs, and, you know, tech and things like that. However, there were so many people backstage. By the time I got there, Smash Ultimate was the last event, so I have no idea how it was the rest of the day, but when I got there, Melee was, I think, at its first or second set, and there were legitimately in the practice room with 4 setups for Melee, 4 setups for Ultimate, that was all there was up there. There was at least 15 people up there that were not actual people like playing in the game. There was a bunch of people playing Melee. There were 3 Melee setups that were taken, none of which were taken by anyone in the top 8. Like when Hungrybox came back up after winning his winner's semis match versus I think Pew Pew U, he actually had to ask people to get off of a setup so that he could practice for his winner's finals match, and I think that is blatantly ridiculous. The top 8 warm-up stations should be reserved, obviously, for the top 8. People should not be allowed back there. I understand if there's a little bit of a backstage area and it's like, oh, this is like a little VIP area, cool, that's one thing. However, people that are back there should not have all access to all of the rooms that the top 8 competitors were in. By the time Losers Finals rolled around for Smash Ultimate, so Sam Sora's coach or his player manager was looking for water, and there was no water left because all the people that were back there that were drunk, that just shouldn't have been back there in the first place, took all the water, took all the Advil, took all the other drinks. There was nothing left for the actual competitors of top 8, and yes, it did run a long time. That's kind of just my gripe with the schedule. I really do not think Smash 64 should be on Sunday. Like, yes, the game has a lot of legacy, but 64 consistently runs over time and kind of ruins the rest of the event. And yes, this did happen for Melee in the previous years, and I was always kind of questioning it. But you know, last year, again, I was kind of first to play, first to get knocked out, so I never got tired. But seeing the competitors constantly come backstage after their even Melee sets and Smash Ultimate sets, they were just exhausted because the day was so long, and we had to play until I think like grand finals of Smash Ultimate ended at like 12 a.m. or something, West Coast time, maybe 1 a.m., which is like kind of not okay, especially considering, one, the players, we had to be up for a long time because there's no way we're going to be able to sleep until 4 to 5 p.m. to then go in to then start practicing. Like, that's not really going to happen. We're going to wake up at, you know, the rest of the tournament scheduled days, which is between 7 and 10 a.m. like at latest. Also, In terms of viewership, like the tournament was scheduled to end at I think 10:30 p.m. West Coast time, which kind of makes sense, but at the same time that is 1:30 a.m. East Coast time, and if you're kind of thinking about viewership, that seems like a really bad idea for your last game, the grand finals, to be way after most people if they're like any type of adults or if they have college and they want to sleep. It's way after they're like they should be going to sleep, and that's kind of problematic. I feel like West Coast events should kind of aim to end at about like 8 p.m. West Coast time, because otherwise you're gonna have a lot of viewership drop off as the games go on and on and on. Even though the games are getting more intense and crazier, you know, you're losing viewership because the East Coast people are going to sleep, let alone Europe. And I mean, maybe Japan was able to watch it, so like yay to them, but it just seemed kind of, the scheduling just seemed kind of weird to me. That's like a personal gripe, but the other stuff before were like there were way too many people backstage. Like one of my friends was backstage, like I knew him from South Florida, and he was like, oh, what's up, ESAM? And I literally looked at him and I'm like, why are you back here? Like, I don't understand. And he's like, come on, man, that's kind of rude. I'm like, no, like, I'm trying to focus. Why are you back here? Like, you should not be here. Like, you should go. And like, he got really mad because he was also drunk, because spoilers, everyone was drunk back there, which made it even worse because like top 8 competitors couldn't calm down. That we didn't really have a place to go that no one else was, because people that were backstage, which shouldn't have been backstage, were also everywhere backstage, including upstairs where people were practicing. And that really rubs me the wrong way. I am super, super not okay with that. And I really think that events, especially of that scale, of that grandeur, really need to kind of figure out how to limit people being back there, whether it's having more security, being stricter about it. Like, people were so strict at the beginning, and I have no idea how everyone got backstage in the first place. It doesn't make sense why there were so many people backstage. Some people I recognized, obviously, and they were like, oh, we're fairly well-known players that shouldn't have been back there. But then some people, I just had no idea who they were, and I'm fairly versed in all the scenes, so I'm very, very confused how some people got backstage. But anyway, enough of the ranting and the negativity. Overall, I do want to say, after all that, Genesis was an amazing event. That just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it kind of led to like a weird mentality, or it could have led to a weird mentality for a bunch of people. So now let's get into the matches. Here I entered Smash Ultimate doubles and singles doubles with MVD, so let us go over doubles first. So round 1 we were supposed to play against Fullstream and Turquoise, but Turquoise didn't show up to the event, so we were able to get a bye through that. So our actual round 1, which was our winner semis of the pool, was going to be against Hiroi and Noah, both from Florida, and we've known them for a very long time, running Peach and Olimar, so we kind of two-won them pretty easily. Me and MVD were playing really, really well from the get-go of this tournament. Winners finals of the pool, we played against Peon and Isaiah, or Isaiah, I don't exactly know how to pronounce that, and I forgot to record everything, even though I was recording so much, so I don't know who they played, but we advanced into the round 2 pools, or top 64 or something like that, of doubles. In that round 1, we played against Shadow PR and Doom, which was a Snake Peach, and so we were able to win that. Actually, game 1 was very, very close. We were losing for a while, but we slowly ended up bringing it back. I think MVD had a really nice combo, so we did win that afterwards. We played against J-Tails and Sinji, which was running Ness Pac-Man. This was on stream, and we did win that 2-0. I went Yoshi because I'm really tired of Pikachu Ness, especially in doubles, so I went Yoshi, and it was fairly easy as far as I remember. Then after that, we had our first very, very close set of the day with Naro and Umeki. We were actually up 2-0. We had a huge deficit game 3, almost brought it back. We missed a sticky, and that kind of set up the entire momentum of everything. I think MVD got hit for messing up the sticky, so we ended up losing that. Game 4, we were ahead actually in a 2v1 versus Nairo. Nairo kills MVD, and then I'm beating Nairo in the 1v1, and I get reverse nared at the edge of Town and City, and I go to like 65, he was Lucina. He had max rage, and I just die at like 65, and I'm just like, oh, I guess that happened. But game 5, we did end up playing way more solid, ended up closing it out, so we made it to top 12 winners. In winner semis, which was top 12 winners, we played against Captain Zack and Ally, and we won 3-1. I think game 1, Captain Zack went Bayo, and Ally was Snake the whole time. Me and MVD were Pika Snake the whole time, and we won that pretty solidly. Game 2, they went to Yoshi's Story, and Zack went Bayo, and we lost that barely. And then game 3 and 4, I think we won fairly handily, both of them, to advance into winners finals. And once we got to winners finals, that was where our game wins ended, as we got 3-0'd by Salem and Dark Wizzy. We had a few unfortunate things happen to us, like in each and every game, but also Salem and Dark Wizzy are ridiculous at this doubles. Like, they're so good at doubles. So we ended up losing that 3-0, and then we also lost 3-0 to Light and Mars, both of them being absolute nuts. Like, they are so crazy when it comes to doubles. They both make such like mind-boggling decisions that you're always nervous the whole time. I feel like sometimes just playing them is just like, oh my god, is he gonna try to run through me? Do I have to like hit him to attack my teammate? And then like, I don't want to get grabbed and thrown back into like Mars's, you know, up air by like Fox, and so you just like get scared, and then he just runs past me and up smashes MVD. Like, he just kind of does that stuff. Like, like both of them do such ridiculous things, so we did lose 3-0 to them to get 3rd place at Genesis 6 doubles, which again is a pretty good showing. We made it all the way to winners finals, so I'm very proud of that. Obviously I wanted to do better, and I really felt like we could have won that tournament, especially considering we, I think, 3-0'd Dark Wizzy and Salem at Glitch, but alas, 3rd place is where we will stand. But if we are consistently getting top 3, top 2, I'm perfectly fine with that. And now to go to singles, my round 1, I played against Banjo, who is a Young Link main. Actually, I think both the games were fairly close. I think it was maybe like high percent 2 stock and then 1 stock low percent. It was actually pretty impressive. He played very, very well. It kind of taught me a little bit about Young Link because I know very little about Young Link as I have almost no experience versus the character, so I did learn a lot, so it was very, very helpful, but I did win 2-0. Next up, I played against Analog, and she was playing, I think it was Zelda and Isabel. I almost like I think I JV3'd her one of the games, or I don't think I dropped a stock, something like that. I know I was playing incredibly well that set, and it was on stream, so I was feeling very, very confident moving forward into my winter semis, where I played against Brand Flakes, who was a Snake main, and I'm going to be showing a clip that I got on him when I played his in game 1. I did some nasty stuff because, I mean, it was Snake, and I'm really, really confident in that matchup, and that kind of gave me a little bit of confidence going forward, considering I had 2 Snakes projected in my bracket. And in winners finals of the pool, I played against DJ Relly, a Sonic main, and again, even though this was my first time playing against a Sonic, I have theory crafted that matchup a decent amount since I absolutely hated it in Smash 4, and it is just so much easier because of the fact that you can edge guard Sonic, because of the fact that they can't shield cancel their spin dash, so it makes everything a little bit easier, makes me able to approach and also to edge guard, so that is very, very nice. So I did clean that up 2-0 pretty solidly. But before I got into Saturday, I actually played Samsora in our money match, and it was 5-3 him. A lot of the games were really close. I think I almost 3-stocked him in a couple games. He almost 3-stocked me in one game, but that ended up being a last hit game because I'm really good, and Samsora obviously did end up getting 3rd at this tournament, so, and I knew he was slated to do incredibly well, so even though I lost him and I lost $250, I felt very confident that I was able to compete with someone at such a high level as Samsora, that it was so close, that it was so nerve-wracking. There was a huge crowd. Shoutouts to Hylian for lending me his headphones because I literally couldn't hear the crowd, and afterwards people were like, man, that crowd was really disrespectful towards you, and I literally did not know that was going on even a little bit. So shoutouts to Hylian, old Ice Climbers main. It was really good to see him as well, kind of like what I talked about with Havoc. But either way, like that money match was so fun, and then I was a little bit upset afterwards, so I did money match a lot of people, including Light, and I beat him in 2 money matches, 3-2 and 3-0, including Akashic, including Apology Man, and more people, but I made most of the money back that I had lost to Samsora in other money matches, so I didn't end up feeling too bad about it, and again, I was so confident because of how I played in that money match that I was very motivated to do well the next day, and boy did I. Then the next day we end up going into round 2 singles, where round 1 I ended up playing against Z, the Pikachu main from Vegas, and I think that's the first time he ever played in tournament, and it was really unfortunate because he was playing incredibly nervous. I know him, I've seen him play, I know he is much better than what he did when we played, but so I did win 2, I think it was a double 2 stock. I think he SD'd at least one time in the set, missed a lot of little things that I know he's capable of doing, so I kind of felt bad about that, but I will take that, and I will win 2-0 to advance into the finals of my pool, which was against Shogun, the Snake main from Japan, and he might have taken first stock in the first game, but that was the only stock he took the entire set. It ended up being a low percent 2 stock game 1, and then a 3 stock game 2, because I'm really good at the Snake matchup, seeing as I live with MVD, which again gave me more confidence into my next round, which was Ally, which ended up being a 3-0. A JV3 on his Snake, a last hit game with his Mario, and a JV3 on his Mario, because after game 1, like he was telling me, because we played in Japan a tiny little bit, and he was like, man, I really just don't understand Pikachu, I don't really like this character, I'm gonna try Snake, and then if I lose I'll probably go Mario, and that's exactly what he did. Game 2 was very close, but I did end up winning. I was actually crying during that set because after game 1 I had looked back at people that were cheering my name, and a bunch of my friends had like little card posters that were like big that had my fiance on them, and like because she wasn't there and she was in a Pikachu onesie and it had "Let's Go ESAM," and it was really cute and I wasn't ready for it, so I literally just like started, like if you watch the VODs I'm literally like crying and I like wipe off my tears before I go into game 2, but you know, it gave me so much more confidence, so much more motivation to go so I could do it for her as well, and so I did win that 3-0 very solidly to then play against my hardest set, or supposed to be my hardest set of the tournament, and that was Tweak, the #1 seed of Genesis, and I made the upset. It was really funny because I remember doing my bracket analysis stream before Genesis, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to play Tweak because I was very confident that I would beat Shogun and beat Ally, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to play Tweak, and I'm very, very confident, and I honestly want to put myself winning in my prediction, but Tweak is really good, so I'm gonna put Tweak winning for the rest of the bracket's sake. But I did end up winning. Game 1, I won, I think, a 2-stock very solidly in my end. Game 2, he absolutely destroyed me, 3-stocked me, and I was like, oh damn, he like really hardcore adapted to me. Game 3, I lost last hit on Lilat. Game 4, I took him back to Lilat, and 1, I actually had a comeback. You know, he missed a waft confirm at some point in Game 4, like 3rd stock, but I don't know if he could have gotten on me anyway because I DI'd really, really well, and it might have been a little too high for waft to confirm into anything, but then I get like a random grab and I deal him 60% because of Nair loops, and you know, that got me momentum, and then I ended up just killing him. I don't remember exactly how I got that stock, but I ended up just playing like one of the best stocks of my life, and I ended up winning that. And Game 5 was actually very similar on Unova. Again, it was very back and forth first stock. First stock took about 2.5 to 3 minutes, so he had waft almost the entire time, which was very, very scary, but I ended up just, you know, killing him once, he killed me a second time, I killed him a second time, and I was about like 6% when I took that stock. He had waft again the whole time, and I end up back airing, anti-airing his neutral air, which led into an up air Nair into Nair loops, so I got like 60%, and similar to Game 4, I also played one of the stocks of my life to make that comeback and then to eventually win that game, and I popped off super hard. You know, there was a huge crowd watching me, even though I was on the side stream. I was honestly expecting the main stream to have way more attention, but then I turn around after Game 5 and I'm like, oh crap, everyone was watching, everyone was chanting my name, so I was really, really, really happy about that. I cried some more, and I cried after I beat Ally too, because it was a very emotional tournament, especially after seeing again all those cards, or rather all those like posters with my fiance on them. So I did win that, and then I went into winners quarterfinals against Void, who made a small upset versus Shuton with Wolf. So I was kind of like, okay, cool, a Chu was gonna make top 8, and unfortunately the Chu that made top 8 in winner's side was not me, as Void beat me 3-1. Pretty unprepared for that matchup. I didn't honestly study that matchup enough. I didn't study Void enough like I did the other players, and you know, it kind of showed. I ran into things that I just didn't know worked. Like I didn't realize how big Pichu's F smash was vertically, and so I ran into that at like 60, and then I died, which then changes a lot of the momentum because I'm like, oh, I can just land on it with anything I want. Turns out you can't do that, and so it was pretty, like, otherwise it was pretty close. I mean, Void had the momentum most of the time. I think the only game I won, which was Game 3, I kind of had, like, I had to bring it back pretty much, which again, I know I'm capable of bringing it back, which is a very nice kind of like mental note, considering again, this is the first like real super major, first time I played against Tweak, against Void, and I know that I'm capable of making these comebacks, so I know I'm never really out of it, although I almost did go Yoshi after I was down 0-2 versus Void, but he won, got into top 8 winners, popped off on me after apologizing to me for the pop-off, which was really, really adorable. So I do get dropped down into losers bracket, where I ended up having to play Yeti for top 8, and fortunately for me, Pikachu Mega Man is still a very, very bad matchup for Mega Man. I can edge guard him, I can forward air through pellets, I can just do so many things. I'm small, so I'm hard to hit in general. It makes it very, very easy for Pikachu to just do everything I want, while it also makes Mega Man, like, it makes Mega Man's life really, really difficult in that matchup. So I won that 3-0. I learned some things like that the tip of forward smash can sometimes hit people if they're hanging off the ledge, which is pretty nice because I didn't know that. You know, I learned that I can nair out of shield during a leaf shield hitboxes, which is also pretty cool because I didn't know that. So I do advance into top 8. I also cried when I got into top 8, and top 8 was obviously on Sunday, which, as I already mentioned, had a lot of problems with it, but one of them was not included. Unfortunately, when I did put in my controls, which was on a different switch for top 8, I messed up my controls. I put L as special instead of jump, and I do use attack canceling and instant reverse aerials a lot, so I do use L a lot, except on Lilac Cruise, which was where game 1 was versus Light, and so I misinputted a few times, and you can go back in the VODs and see me like randomly Skull Bash, I think 2 times, and you know, in my head I'm like, oh my god, I must be so nervous that I'm like randomly inputting Skull Bash, like I don't know what's happening, you know, it's gonna be okay, just fine, just clean it up, and I didn't realize it was my controls until about a stock into game 2, and then the rest of that game I'm super tilted because I'm like, oh my god, I may have just threw everything. I'm gonna go down 0-2 because I don't have my controls. I'm gonna have to reverse 3-0 Light, who's a really talented player, and that was really difficult. And so like after game 2, I ended up changing my controls back to normal, and I feel like every single game also was still very close, very last hit, even with my incorrect controls, which heartbreaking for me because I lost kind of to something outside of the game. I wasn't in the position that I was in through all the other ones where I had my controls. Like, not having your controls is a huge deal, which is why when people are like, oh, I can play without my controls, I'm like, no, shut up, make a tag, like, it's fine, just do it, make sure you're comfortable, and if you're not comfortable with your controls, then you're going to be doubting all of your decision making, which is everything that happened game 2, and it was still relatively close. So for me, I was very confident, you know, after I was miserable, because I was literally like so distraught and miserable for like an hour and a half after I lost, because I was like, oh my god, I really just threw my chance to get into Summit, and I threw everything, and I could have done so much better. I can't believe I forgot my controls. I'm so annoyed, you know, which kind of feeds back into I was annoyed at, you know, the room being so crowded and all that dynamic, but you know, it is my fault ultimately. Like, I'm not making John's, you know, he light beat me and he was like, dude, that really sucks because I wanted that set to be legit, but like, I'll take those, man, like I'm in top 6, which was really kind of funny. Light's an amazing player. Obviously I do want to play him in a more legit set. You know, hopefully next time I will have my controls and hopefully the result will be a little different, but either way, I got 7th at Genesis 6. Overall, I was incredibly happy with how I played, and I mentioned this after my glitch set. You know, I did play against a bunch of top players and I was very confident with how I was playing. I was very confident in, you know, my movement, my decision making. When I went to Japan for like 4 days, I did learn a lot and I was able to, first off, I think Zachary still might be the best player in the world even though he got 5th at Genesis, just throwing that out there. Zachary is easily at least a top 3 player in the world. He's ridiculous, but anyway, I digress. You know, I just feel like I've been playing better and better and better and better, and this top 8 shows it. I feel like I could have gone farther had I put my controls in correctly, but that is an unsolved mystery that will never be solved unless I like play Light in another tournament and I absolutely destroy him, which granted, Light is a very talented player, so I don't think I will ever really destroy him. So either way, it was a very fun event overall, except for like kind of the Sunday kind of mess, which I felt like was a big deal, and I feel like no one else called out because everyone's scared of like, oh no, I'm gonna like hurt the feelings of my friends, but like, I don't care. Like, if you're my friend and you're not my +1 or my coach, like, get out of there. Like, I don't care. Get out of the space you're not supposed to be in. And yeah, that's going to be about it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, social media, Panda, and partner stuff is down below, and I will see you all next time.